Fine, you don't moan, you don't yell. You call for help, for crying out loud. See you later.
Coming up tonight, meet the man that built Deep Blue. That's the machine that beat chess master Garry Kasparov. And we'll check out this week's killer bargains with the real deal. Plus, want to erase your logon evidence at work? It's a Windows week for the corporate office. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screensavers.
The Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
We're at a drum party.
We're excited.
Yeah. I'm Sarah Lane. Thanks for joining us on the Screensavers. I'm on Kevin's side today.
Yeah.
Because he's in Washington.
D.C.?
He's in D.C.
We're going to be taping a bunch of segments in Washington, D.C. later this week.
He's ahead of us. He went a couple days early, so I'm sitting in for Kevin today and tomorrow. Patrick's back.
Yes.
You were gone on Friday. We were all very upset and missed you greatly.
Well, I apologize. I'm sorry I wasn't here, but I swear I was having a lot of fun.
Oh!
Yes.
That is Patrick. Is this really from Fred?
The Wendover Boar Racing and Wendover 200. Props go to the Fire Guys. We took first place.
Wow.
And I should point out, there's also some props out to Total Chaos because they build a bitchin' suspension. That's what's actually underneath Jason's new truck. He's in love with it. Fire Guys built by AOR 4x4, who we love. And we also want to say thanks to Boar for putting together a great race. And a special message to you. If you want to move to Aspen or Snowmass, the Snowmass Wildcat Fire Department will be glad to provide you with any and all assistance you
All
need.
right. I might just be moving to the fire department. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Crap down the pole and put on the hat, fight some fires. Sure, I'd love to join you guys.
There are some very happy firefighters in Colorado right now. Tonight we have a great show. Meet the man who built the computer that beat the world chess champion. Plus, we have some real deals for you.
And I'm going to show you how to erase your logon tracks at work. This is a Windows tweak for those corporate worker bees who need to have some fun, like us.
Or want to log into other people's computers
Or
and make
that
it really
too.
difficult
Yeah,
to
I
trace.
mean, whatever your forte.
Mostly it's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
That way you don't actually leave your login name up and people can't find out like half of the login password equation.
Exactly.
So it's an important security tip, ladies and
It's good.
gentlemen.
Just when you walk away, it walks
clear.
away.
We like that.
We like it.
Are you ready for the news?
Let's start with the first story. The small town of River Rouge, Michigan is saying thank you to ex-hacker Kevin Mitnick. The town had been receiving a series of bomb threats, and Mitnick has said to have helped officials track down the culprit using his own tech skills, of which there are many. We figured, why not go straight to the source for the full story? So joining us now by phone from Essex in the United Kingdom, the town saver, Kevin Mitnick, is on the phone.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Hey, Patrick.
Welcome back to the Screensaver.
It's great to be on the show again. So you just want the lowdown on what happened?
What happened?
What are you doing in England, actually?
Yeah.
I was just in Istanbul doing a keynote for a security conference, and then I decided to visit some friends in the UK, and then I'm flying back to LA tomorrow.
So is it like 4 a.m. there?
No, it's midnight.
Oh, perfect. So
Right.
basically, actually all that's not perfect, all the pubs are closed.
So I'm at my friend's house in like 25 miles outside of London. So
He's never in the same place whenever he calls in.
so of course you guys called me today, and I retrieved my voicemail, and then I go, okay, I'll call. But it's cool. I'm
Thank
up
you,
at midnight
Kevin.
anyway.
This is pretty cool. So how did you get connected with the folks at River Rouge? They called you up and said they've got somebody they think was spoofing their caller ID and stuff?
No, it was even more interesting. I didn't get a call from them first. I got a call from Tech TV.
Really?
And some lady over at Tech TV, I don't recall her name, said this
Wasn't me.
lieutenant, a detective lieutenant, needed to get hold of me. It was urgent, and she gave me the number. So I called this gentleman up, and he told me he was a lieutenant detective at this police department somewhere in Michigan, and they had this situation, and they were just up against the wall.
Because they were essentially getting bomb threats, and they couldn't trace back the caller.
Well, no, they actually went through the phone company and got a trap and trace, but the number that came up was was a number that belonged to Sprint. That Sprint said wasn't even used. So apparently they did some research and found the segment where I was demonstrating caller ID spoofing with Leo.
Got it.
So then they contacted me to see, hey, could this guy be spoofing his calls?
So is it like the police department was just Googling Kevin Mitnick, found some story from Tech TV's website and said, we need to get a hold of this guy?
I don't know how it went down exactly, Sarah, but that's a possibility. Or maybe he actually saw the show.
Right.
I don't know.
Either
He
way.
knew about it. So anyway, he basically laid out the story, and I said, well, let's rule out, caller ID spoofing. What's probably happening is this person is using like a prepaid calling card or using a cell phone. And what happens, I don't know if you knew, in Los Angeles, what would happen years ago, if you made an outgoing call from a cell phone and you called somebody, it would show up, it would show a disconnected number that was actually belonging to the cell phone company that was calling you. This is before before caller ID was, proliferated throughout the world, right? So anyway, they went to Sprint, and Sprint couldn't track the number. They said, well, yeah, it's one of our numbers, but it hasn't been used in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So then I thought, hey, listen, the best way to really track the perpetrator down is not by trying to do a trap and trace of trying to identify the number calling in, but actually if you have a telephone company, an operating company like Sprint, you could basically go to them with a subpoena and do what they call a terminating number search. So what you do is you look for the number being dialed from any customer's phone, and you look for a specific time period on a specific date, and then they were able to identify who this person was.
Very cool.
It was really simple. In fact, it was the same technique that the FBI and that Tsutomu Shimomura used to find the cell phone that I was using back in 1995.
So you were familiar with the process.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I was quite familiar.
I mean, were you surprised, Kevin, that no one knew how to do this already, considering that it was a pretty simple process?
Well, they went to the phone company. I think it was really not incompetence on law enforcement. It was probably incompetence on the phone company.
Right.
That they basically said, hey, we're at a dead end. There's nothing we can do. We're sorry. We did what we can do.
Sure.
So the phone company security people said, hey, wait a second. What's the situation? And they should have known what their search capabilities are. I know what they are, and the detective lieutenant did not know what they were at the time. And this guy, the case was escalated up to him because usually he supervises other detectives. So because this became such a serious case, it was escalated to him, and he was just against the wall. So it was really simple. It wasn't really, rocket science here, but having a good understanding of what the capabilities of the phone company are and what they could actually search for, is valuable, at least to law enforcement in this type of case.
Kevin, I smell an opportunity to do some I don't know, consulting, maybe a series of briefings, but...
Obviously, bomb threats aren't funny, and a town in Michigan thanks you, Kevin Mitnick.
River Rouge, Michigan, Lieutenant Detective Kevin. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, thanks,
Thanks for staying up late for us, man. We appreciate it.
Enjoy the UK.
All
right.
For us.
Yeah. More news to report. There's another worm on the loose. This one, over the weekend, the Sasser worm started inching its way across the internet. We didn't have enough already. But now there's a Sasser bee that's moving a lot more quickly. According to Symantec, the worm has spread to more than 10,000 computers. Microsoft has issued a patch, but something to be aware of.
Yeah, we got information up on the website to learn how to patch it. It's kind of great. You rarely see when you go up to SARC, the Semantic Antivirus Research Center, but let's say they got W32.Sasser-D, the Sasser-C, the Sasser-B, and the basic Sasser worm, which are all related to, guess what, a hole in the basic Microsoft operating system. There's a patch available. Download the latest updates for your operating system. And if you want to learn more information about how to do that or to get removal tools if you've already been affected by Sasser, go to thescreensavers.com.
All right. Story 3?
Story 3.
According to Slashdot, Comcast recently sent out letters to DMCA infringing customers informing them of their illegal downloading activity. Now, MGM apparently asked Comcast to notify these individuals and asked that the downloaded files be removed. But in addition to that, the individual must now write a return letter which consists of an explanation and an apology. So... if I'm understanding this right, they don't just need to remove these files. They need to write a letter or type it out, put it in a stamped envelope and send it saying, I'm sorry for what I did.
Yeah, well,
That's-
here we actually have the letter up here that was actually sent out. If you believe in good faith that the allegedly infringing works have been removed or blocked by mistake or misidentification, you may send a counter notification to Comcast. Upon Comcast receipt of a counter notification that satisfies the requirements of the DMCA, that's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, Comcast will provide a copy of the counter notification to the party, that's MGM, who sent the original notification of claimed infringement. We will then follow the DMCA's procedure with respect to a received counter notification. What we need here is to find a DMCA lawyer to explain what this means. Because what it sounds like, we're not sure. They are either asking you to say we're really sorry, because it's amazing. They basically,
or explain why it wasn't you.
Yeah, this wasn't Kazaa, right?
The war drivers did it.
Exactly, but it's interesting. It's like they have an example of a title of a movie, the infringement source, BitTorrent, the initial infringement timestamp, the recent infringement timestamp. So they've got a bunch of information. But the best part of this, though, is if you scroll up a little bit, sincerely, the Comcast Network Abuse and Observance Team. So basically, be aware, folks, is that
there is such a team.
Comcast wasn't actually monitoring basically the movie the
MGM.
Thank you. I was going to say not the producer, not the director, but the
mayor.
Exactly. Anyhow, but basically be aware that people are out there looking for copyright violations, and it's starting to pop up everywhere, not just Kazaa, not just the RIAA. So figure out a good explanation. And
be aware of it.
We should see if we can get somebody from the EFF to explain what's going on here.
That'd be a good idea, because it's sort of a convoluted thing.
Yeah, and
we're not sure what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to apologize or what?
Nonetheless,
we're sorry.
Watch your back if you're downloading movies, folks. We're just getting started. Got some great deals this weekend. Tech ads you won't want to miss. And after the break, find out what it took for a team of IBM engineers to build Deep Blue, a computer powerful enough to defeat world-class chess champion Garry Kasparov.
Many of you may or may not be familiar with the name of our next guest, but probably most of you know the name of the computer he built, Deep Blue. What started off as a school project for Carnegie Mellon grad student became the machine that defeated the world-famous chess champion Garry Kasparov. He's taken his experiences and recorded them in a new book, Behind Deep Blue. Welcome Feng-hsiung Hsu to the Screensaver. All right. So when you take a look at that clip of the computer defeating Kasparov, what kind of emotions are stirred inside of you? This is quite a project for you.
I feel glad that it's over.
Really?
Yes. When that happens, I already spent 12 years on this project.
Right.
And for
that was the moment you'd been waiting for, essentially.
Yes, and for the other team members, some 9 years and some like 10 years.
Right.
So we all spent a lot of time on it.
Now, you mentioned in the book that, in a way, it was sort of a letdown. Kasparov was upset. He walked away somewhat angrily, and you almost wished it would have been a better match.
Yes.
It ended somewhat quickly.
Yeah, we were so expecting the last game to be a fight to the bitter end.
Right.
And instead, Kasparov played a gamble.
Now, that's because the first time Kasparov beat Deep Blue, correct?
Yes.
Now, what changed between that match and then the match where Kasparov was eventually defeated?
When we played in the first match, Deep Blue was just completed like 2 weeks beforehand.
Right.
And when the first game was played, that was the first time a full-blown Deep Blue played its first game. The game that's in front of everybody in the world. That was the first game Deep Blue played.
Wow. So Deep Blue was under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
we were under even more.
Right.
We were hoping that things could turn out right. So from the first match to the second match, we realized we actually built a machine that's, if you look at it as a baby, it's a 2-week-old baby when he played that first match.
Right.
It was a very talented baby. Otherwise, it couldn't beat Kasparov, the world champion, in the first game he ever played.
Right.
But you also know that Deep Blue, as you see the progress as the first match, in the end, he realized he was just outclassed. The reason why he was outclassed is Deep Blue didn't know enough about chess.
Interesting.
And so what we end up having to do is try to figure out how to get Deep Blue to know more about chess.
Now, obviously, Deep Blue is a product of a team.
Yes.
I mean, and you're the head of the team. Are you a big chess player? What inspired you to create this 12-year project?
I wouldn't call myself head of the team. I'm a member of the team.
Okay, a member of the team.
Yes.
I was just trying to make you look good. But really, but you know, what inspired the project?
I was always interested in playing computer chess. This has actually been since I was a kid. But at the time, I was in the school at Carnegie Mellon University, and there was
grad school.
Yes, I was in computer science department, and there was a team of graduate students and the faculty. They were working on a different machine called High Tech. And High Tech was using a different strategy. They're trying to they figure the chip is getting so cheap, and one way of getting the machine to get where they want, they just build large machines. And as chip designer, which I define myself as, and you look at what happened in people in California is doing every day is try to squeeze the chip to smaller and smaller, how it's smaller and smaller. They were doing the opposite. They make a system bigger.
So you were sort of like, hey, I could do this a little bit better.
No, I was figuring out this has to be the wrong. This from
They're going backwards.
This is wrong.
Yeah.
You don't do it that way. You should squeeze the things down. So at that time, they built a system that used something like 80 chips to generate chess moves. And when I was looking at the problem again, I realized, wait a second, it's possible to put these whole things on the single chips. And as it turned out, it was also much faster. It was like maybe 20 times faster than the old chip they have. So you calculate the whole thing together is like 1,000 times faster. And that's when things get interesting.
Now, is this? We're looking at some images here. Is this? What are we looking at here? Is that the team working on Deep Blue? Getting excited? Did you see that? Did you miss it?
I missed it. I think that was from the game we played between the first version of Deep Blue and the second version of Deep Blue.
Oh, I see.
And the second version be the first one.
So how exactly is this computer programmed to play chess? It's an interesting. There are actually processors for each piece. Is that correct?
No. There's each piece represented by a token on the chips.
Okay.
And the chips, we actually had used two types of chips. One is a general purpose machine, which is, at that time, IBM has i6000 supercomputer. That was the backbone. And then we have special purpose design chips that can play chess on its own. And its chips contain a chess move generator that generates chess moves. It also has the other part that's called evaluation functions, which assess how much a position is worth from its perspective.
What kind of processors are these that are inside Deep Blue?
The process that used on the i6000, that would be, I think would be corresponding to maybe Pentium 2 processor, so it's relatively slow. And the one, the special purpose chip we did was done in 0.6 micron CMOS. Each chip at that time is actually roughly comparable to the entire Deep Blue in terms of the general purpose machines, in terms of ability to play chess.
So would Deep Blue be a lot smaller? Would it have been not begun to be built 12 years ago?
If we rebuild it today, the entire Deep Blue, processing power of the entire Deep Blue can be fit into a single chips.
Right.
And you can put it on the pocket PC and play chess.
Wow. Wow. But this guy's like 6 feet tall, and he's a big Deep Bluer. Now, the final move that stumped Kasparov is, it's been talked about online. In your book, you mentioned that it was one of these moves that everyone sort of said, why did Kasparov do that? Why do you think that it stumped him? Why do you think that the game ended up as it was? It wasn't at checkmate. He walked away.
You mean the last position in the last game?
Yeah, the last position, which we actually see here on the screen now. This is the final position of that fatal match. Okay.
Before we reached the position, Kasparov played a move that we can consider a gamble. He played a move that allowed Deep Blue to sacrifice a knight for a pawn. Usually that's considered a bad trade-off, and especially from a computer point of view. But if you look at the literature, you know that people actually has no problem winning against computer from the black side, which is Kasparov's side.
Right.
But as the game progressed, Kasparov saw that Deep Blue know how to play that position. And near the end of that game, Kasparov basically raised his head and asked my teammate that how the Deep Blue think the position was. And Joe was the operator at that time. And Joe knocked his head, basically telling Kasparov, yes, you are dead.
Wow.
And Kasparov knew he was dead.
He knew there was no way around it. It was like, why even bother?
Waiting for checkmate.
Wow. Now, he has said, we actually interviewed him last year in New York. We asked him about the Deep Blue match, and he said something, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but something to the effect of, there was really no significance. It didn't prove artificial intelligence because Kasparov can adapt his style and method, but a computer cannot. What's your response to that?
Okay, the two parts of the response. One is he's talking there's no significance. But you look at all the matches played, this was by far the biggest match he ever played. In fact, the publicity found this match probably bigger than all the world championship he played combined.
Right, it was very significant.
So you would say it's significant in that sense.
Right.
Now, as far as the other party said that Deep Blue wasn't artificial intelligence, I agree with that totally. If Deep Blue is losing, you just try to figure out a better way to play the position and things like that. If Kasparov losing, he might think of other way to win. For instance, he might kick the wires of the machine and win the match.
Right.
That means that Kasparov has a general purpose intelligence. Deep Blue doesn't.
Deep Blue is not playing dirty. Deep Blue is just playing the way.
Well, I'm not saying Kasparov played dirty. I mean, Kasparov can think of how to play dirty.
Right.
That's intelligence.
But the computer is just not going to do
just
it.
blindly just keep on playing.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, Deep Blue won fair and square. And
Thanks.
you were part of the team that built it. It must feel really good.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Feng-hsiung Hsu, for sharing your vision and your success with us. Thank you so much. For more details on this fascinating story and a link to buy Feng-hsiung's book, Behind Deep Blue, I've read some of it. It's absolutely thrilling. Visit us at screensavers.com. While you're there, test your wits against Screensavers Deep Blue trivia that we've got there as well. Still to come, Leo joins us for a quick tip on the latest live CD Linux distros. And David's on the phone looking for a laptop to love. We're going to steer him in the right direction when the Screensavers continue.
To register for our next Screensavers LAN party powered by NVIDIA. Everyone go buy your copy of Unreal Tournament 2K4 and practice, because in 2 weeks we're playing it. There are 45 of your favorite maps from Unreal Tournament and 2K3 and 50 brand new maps to frag on. You got 19 vehicles, 17 weapons, 32 new characters, voice over IP built into the game so you can talk while you kill, and even a way to broadcast your game so people can watch the mayhem. So go to our website and click on Join Our LAN Party to register. You must own the full version of Unreal to play, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for our next LAN party. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Brentano.
No problemo.
He's so excited.
He is.
Another game we can kick him on.
Yeah.
I don't know
Should we take a
what
call?
you want me to say to that, Patrick.
We don't want you to say
You're
anything.
supposed to say your usual feisty, I'm going to take, you
Yeah.
you to town or something.
I'm going to take you to town, Patrick.
Usually he's much cockier than that.
Somebody forgot to take his happy pill today.
Yeah, every day. David joins us on the phone from Covington, Georgia. How you doing, David?
Hi, David.
How you guys doing?
Good. How can we help you today?
All right, well, I've been looking for a laptop online, and
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last sentence again?
I've been looking for a laptop online,
Uh-huh.
and I've been looking on Dell and HP and all the other different companies, and I was wondering if I should wait till the end of the summer because I have to work for my laptop. I was wondering if I should wait till the end of the summer or buy it now and then just pay it off as I go.
Okay, so basically you're looking at, you want to buy a notebook, right? You're buying it for...
Finance it, perhaps?
Yeah, you want to buy, you're looking to buy a notebook, probably for school?
Yeah, it's going to be mostly for school.
Okay, and you're basically deciding whether to save up money over the summer and buy it then, or whether or not to rack up the mad credit card charge or the financing charge and buy it now.
Yeah.
You want some advice?
Yes.
Don't be like Fu. You know Dan?
Yeah.
Dan likes to buy incredibly expensive consumer electronics, primarily graphics cards, at the peak of their value, right before the prices drop.
He
and
believes the hype,
He
is what
believes
Patrick's
the hype.
saying, and we don't want you to.
Yeah, and more importantly, if you use a credit card or if you use a financing charge, then it can be like, it's $22 a month for the next 10 years of your life, which means if you do the math, which I personally am not good at doing, so I'm going to estimate it, but your $1,500 notebook can be a $4,000 notebook by the time you pay it off.
Oh, yeah, I financed a computer in college, and I got to say, I mean, yeah, it was only $50 a month.
Yeah.
But by the time I was done paying it off, I was way behind and obsolete, and
Yeah.
I wish I wouldn't have done it that way.
So
Gotta be honest.
I'd say, look, there's times when it's great to finance, but understand that in 2 to 3 years, you're probably, if the notebook is still running in 3 years, and I'd say if you don't have a lot of money floating around, buy the extended protection for the notebook, get at least a 3-year warranty for it, especially if you're looking at an Apple, since we've had some interesting issues with those. Do you looking for primarily for gaming or for to be able to run around and take to classes and use in the library, or?
Yeah, mostly for running around and maybe reward driving here and there.
Okay.
But I mean, like, you know, I play the occasional game, like when I go out or something.
I would give up on gaming on a notebook. Okay, I'll tell you why, David. Now, this is a 600M we've been using a lot. We actually bought 2 of these for the set.
Great
nice
system.
14-inch screen, fairly light. It's got the Centrino, which I could care less about, but more importantly, they say Centrino and technology from Intel. Mostly what that is a Pentium M processor. If you add in an Intel 802.11b card in their chipset, it becomes Centrino. And the idea, though, is the Pentium M processor is a great processor. Gives you a tremendous amount of battery life, decent amount of power, and a slower clock speed of a Pentium M will outperform a Pentium 4 Mobile. If you go to get something that's got the graphics that you need to play, because when you say games, you're talking about first-person shooters?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If you start spending the money to get a gaming laptop, you're going to do a couple things. One is you're going to take a nice 5.5, 6-pound, 4-pound notebook that you can carry around without wanting to cry, and it turns into an 11-pound notebook. Second, you drop
Which is great if you're, trying to bulk up.
Yeah. Or if you want to have those really cool grooves in your shoulders from the backpack. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to take battery life from 3 to 5 hours down to about an hour and a half to 3 hours max if you spend money for the biggest battery they have. And 3, and most important of all, you'll be really annoyed trying to play video games on basically with a touchpad and the keyboard. So I would just don't spend the extra money to get a gaming laptop. Spend the money on a good, Pentium M or Centrino-based notebook and buy the protection plan on that. And yeah, wait till the end of the summer because you know what? Yeah, new processors coming out, Dothan processors coming out later this month, which means the stuff you buy today will already be probably 2 clock jumps behind.
You're actually going to be rewarded for saving your money.
More stuff, less money.
There you go. Thanks for the call, David.
Good one, man.
Now let's check in with Leo. He's got a quick Linux tip.
Hi, Leo here to talk about Live CD Linux, a great way to try Linux if you don't want to install it on your hard drive. We've talked about Knoppix before. Knoppix is a Linux on a CD you boot to, and you can run it, you can use it, you can try Linux before you do anything to your hard drive. A great way to get introduced to Linux. But there are other live CD distributions. I'm going to go to distrowatch.com, which, by the way, is a great site for keeping track with your favorite distribution. They've got hundreds of distributions on here, and the latest, greatest. I'll show you a couple that I like a lot. This is called Mepis, which is Debian, but it's easy to install, unlike most Debian, and it's desktop-oriented. So if you want to give somebody who's a Windows 95 user a chance to try Linux, Mepis is a great way to start. Maybe you want one of those business card Linuxes you can carry around. This is a 50-megabyte Linux. It's got all the tools on it, including not only recovery tools, but office tools as well. You could, small enough, 50 megabytes to fit on one of those business card CDs. Damn Small Linux. I like the name, but let me show you my favorite. This is based on Knoppix. It's called Knoppix MAME, and it's got XMAME built into it. In fact, there's no other user interface. It's all about playing games. Now, it comes with a directory of ROMs, but no ROMs on it. However, it has a very easy-to-use utility that allows you to put your own ROMs on the ISO so you can burn your own CD. What a great idea. Boot into a Linux CD that's got all of your favorite arcade games on it. Great for making a standalone arcade emulator. You'll find this distro and many more at distrowatch.com. Try Live CD Linux. It's a great way to get into Linux without doing anything to your hard drive. And if you like it, you can install it later. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Leo. Now, don't go anywhere. I've got a simple regedit to help you clear your login tracks at work. Comes in handy. And after the break, we'll check out this week's Blue Plate Tech Bargains with the real deal. Following the screensavers continue. The Screensavers. I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Patrick Norton. Coming up in this half hour, Sarah is going to show you how to erase your login so no one knows you were there.
I love it. I love it.
And Ahmed's on the line waiting for faster frames per second. He wants to know whether or not a hard drive is going to make his games run faster.
And we're going to tell him.
All about that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we're back. It's time now for taking the latest newspaper tech ads. We call it The Real Deal.
The Real Deal.
Now, a couple, 3-4 weeks ago, Robert Herron came on and evaluated a bunch of $150 DVD R, DVD-R, DVD, plus R, basically DVD burning drives. You've had some great DVD burning drives for under $150. You see the price up there in the corner, folks? You probably noticed it. That's not a CD-ROM drive. It's a DVD burner. $79.97. Burning DVDs.
Incredible.
Is getting super, super cheap. That's from Office Depot selling that one so good.
$80.
We also got a link up on the website so you can actually check Robert Herron's review and see some of the brands that he liked, for basically what he liked about them, what he didn't like about them. It's a really good article on that. Second,
Can't beat it.
Check this one out. Hard drives. Talked about a 250 gigabyte hard drive being cheap last week. Look at this. 80 gigabytes for $50. I don't know how excited I am about that, but 160 gigabyte, 7,200 RPM drive. It's up at Best Buy, and it's pretty amazing there. 160 gigabytes, 7,200 RPM, $99.99 after the rebates. Over on the right side over here, from CompUSA, we've got $160 for a 1394 and USB 2.0 external 120 gigabyte drive. It's a great way to back stuff up. And if you scroll down a little bit, $140 for a 200 gigabyte, $140 for a 200 gigabyte 7200 RPM drive. It's ridiculous.
It is.
How ridiculous? Let's click over to the next page. And we've got more, like 250 gigabytes for $160, which is coming out of, boy, I don't even know where that one's coming from. There's like so many of them. Best Buy,
Right.
Circuit City. We've got a whole listing of all these drives. And actually one of our favorite backup drives, Maxstar 120 external, is available from, I don't know. I've completely lost it.
That's all right.
Anyhow,
I mean,
you know,
the point
go to the
is that they're
website.
pretty cheap. $150, 200 gigs.
We like that.
We do.
And it's just a great time to buy a hard drive for storage, both internal or external. Finally, check this out. Family Radio Service. They're so cheap. Motorola Talkabout's $30. I don't know who Columbia Telecommunications is, but if you want to get wonky-talkies for the kids or something to keep them in the yard.
Great
these
for the
are
ski slopes.
Great for the ski slopes, great for summer, great for road trips if you've got 3 or 4 cars. And they work incredibly well, and they are incredibly cheap. We got links for all these up at thescreensavers.com. You should check them out in the show notes. We got the ads, we got our comments, we got the links, and you can save money and buy some good stuff.
We like that. We want you to save money, just like we all want to save money. Next up, we're going to tell our next caller the best move to make his gaming smoother. But up next, erase your login tracks at work, remain private. It's all when the Screensavers continues. Gadget gurus, you're going to love our Digital Digs Roadshow, and as a bonus, you can also meet Fresh Gears' Chris Leary and Stephanie Seamiller in person.
Yay!
The Roadshow. Audience is like, yay! Roadshow hits the Hulen Mall in Fort Worth, Texas on May 8th and 9th. The event runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. For more information and to learn about the coast-to-coast stops of the Roadshow, we're in one coming up pretty soon. Go to techtv.com/Digital Digs to find out when to meet us. If you don't meet us in D.C. later this week, which you might.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, join us.
Join
Meantime,
us.
let's check in with the fine folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight.
Woo! Yeah!
News anchor Jessica Corbin in Studio A.
Atlanta on June 4th.
All right.
Yeah, I'll be in Atlanta doing that Digital Digs, their diggy thing.
That's fun.
Digital Diggity Dash Fun.
Diggity Dash.
Well,
It
actually,
is
it's
the
not a
bomb
dash.
diggity.
It's not a dash. It's a road show.
It is a roadshow.
And a
Right.
darn good one at that. You're happy
Right.
today, Jess. What's going on Tech Live?
No real reason, just a lot of sugar. Well, okay, so don't you just hate it? I know you guys do. Don't you just hate it when you come back to your car and you find a nasty $50 ticket on the windshield?
I really hate that.
We can all relate. Well, tonight on Tech Live, we'll show you a website that'll help fight that ticket for you and save you some cash as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
like
and
it.
you know
Love
what?
it.
They're diligent about it. You guys got to tune in. It's pretty darn cool.
That's awesome.
So stay tuned because you won't want to miss it coming up right after the Screensavers.
Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Jess.
Have a great show.
Tech Live right after the Screensavers. Find out how to fight tickets.
And I should really watch that because I've got
Yeah.
a serious ticket problem here
You know
in
what?
San Francisco.
They've maxed out the fine in San Francisco. It's now up to $95 per ticket.
And what did it used to be?
I think it was 70.
Oh, great. So they could just get a little bit more out of our laziness.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Moving on. If you're part of a network running Windows, as we are here at the office, you have a login prompt that you need to pass to get in. Put in your username, I'm S-Lane, put in my password, and then I get onto our domain. Of course, a lot of computers around our set are logged onto by multiple members of our staff all day long. You always know who's been there before you, because after they log off, the prompt comes back when you're ready to log on, and you see their name as the last person that was on the computer. Even if you restart, it's still going to be that way. Of course, if they could hang out, they could manually erase it, but a lot of times people don't do that. So there are a million reasons why you might not want your information displayed. We won't even get into that. Whatever your reason is, I'm going to show you how to erase that info. So when you log off or when you restart, when the prompt comes back up, the username is blank. It's very simple. Just what I'm talking about right here is, of course, here's our network. It says S-Lane, and it's saying, password, I'm ready. Now, if someone came up after I had walked away and restarted, they would see this, and they would know I had been there. The very simple way to erase that information is to go into your regedit. I'm just hopping over to another computer for time's sake. And we want to navigate to this key XP. It's under local machine, software, Microsoft Windows, current version, policies, system. Now, when you get inside the system folder,
The directions for this are up on the site.
the directions, of course, are on the website.
For that person that's right now going, H key, what?
Yeah, you don't need to have like Kasparov type mind to remember all of this stuff. So in the systems folder, we've got a bunch of stuff, a bunch of values over on over on the right hand side. We want to look for something called don't display last username. That's really what it's called. Don't display last username. Now, if you don't have this by default, you can add it manually. But I haven't encountered a computer yet that didn't have this, that was properly set up as a network domain computer. When you do that, you've got this here, and as you can see, the data is, even in hex, it says 0. What we want to do is enable this with a 1. This goes for many of my Windows tweaks, my red edits. I just want to right-click here and click Modify.
So you're going to flip the bit.
I'm flipping the bit. And in the value data, it says 0. I just want to say 1. And I say OK, and I close regedit, and now, again, in the interest of time, I'm just going to just trust me that what it'll do is it will give me that exact login screen, but without the name.
Come on, it only take like 2 minutes to reboot.
Thank you. Possibly my best tweak yet. It's simple, it's easy, it's free, and it's available, of course, in my Windows Tweak article at thescreensavers.com. You know, it's one of those tweaks. It was sort of like Kevin's. Kevin did these little dark tips on Friday. This is sort of a little Windows tweak. It may not be the most. It may not knock your socks off, but
there's a bunch of people out there going,
okay.
Yes!
Log on, never again!
I like that thought. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up after the break, we'll coach Ahmed on his choices, and, well, to make his gaming experience smoother. Better gaming after these messages. Be sure to catch tomorrow's show. Why? Because physicist Michio Kaku joins us again to talk about Einstein's cosmos. Sarah shows you some plugins that make Trillian the coolest alternative to AIM as if it wasn't already. Plus, I'm building a gaming PC under $500, at least before the shipping. That's all coming up on tomorrow's edition of the Screensavers.
Yeah, you know, AIM mutation that I did last week is a great AIM plugin. But let's just say you're going to forget AIM. You don't need to be in the AIM world anymore.
Trillian and Trillian
in that
Pro.
case, it's all about Trillian. Yeah.
There you have
More
it.
on that tomorrow.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Ahmed joins us on the phone from Anaheim, California. How's it going, Ahmed?
Hi, Ahmed.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Excellent.
We're great. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing fine.
How can we help you today?
Well, I was wondering, I have a pretty decent gaming rig, and if I upgrade the hard drives to the Raptor, 10K RPMs, will I get faster frames per second?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. What you will do, right, so for the folks who aren't kind of in the know, Western Digital, basically their server division makes these amazing drives called the Raptors. What they are is 10,000 RPM drives, and they are ridiculously fast. They're smaller. They offer them in 36 gigabyte or 72 gigabyte versions. 72 or 78. I'll have to check that one. I believe it's 36 or 72 gigabytes, but they are unbelievably fast. However, that'll make your games load faster. It'll make your levels load faster. It might make certain things start faster. It'll make saving files faster. What it won't do at all is give you faster frame rates, because your video games, right? You're playing first-person shooters, Ahmed?
Yeah, like Far Cry and, Unreal.
What that lives in is essentially your processor, the L1, L2 cache, your main system memory, and basically your graphics card. And the games are designed to pretty much function in that little triangle between your processor, your memory, and your graphics card. So once the game is actually physically loaded and running on your system, your hard drive's not going to help at all. Your hard drive might help it load faster. It might help the next level load faster, but it's not going to make the frames per second any faster.
That's a good question.
It is a great question.
You would think, well, if I have a faster system, then those little hiccups should go away.
You'd like. What you said you have a pretty good system. How much memory is in that system?
Well, I got 512.
Okay, 512 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
What's the processor?
I got a Pentium 4 2.8.
Not a bad processor. And the graphics card?
It's the 9800 Pro.
Wow, so you got a pretty good system. I would almost say, what I would almost say is what we've heard Robert Heron saying in the lab is that it's getting to be time to go from 512 megabytes to a gigabyte of memory for a lot of video games now.
Okay.
You're also going to want to check to make sure, of course, you got the latest graphics drivers to make sure whether or not there's any BIOS updates for your motherboard. But yeah, you've got a pretty good setup there. A 2.8 gigahertz Pentium 4 and a 9800 is a great combination. probably go up to a gigabyte of RAM and then start playing around with the settings. Before I did all that, though, I definitely checked the settings on the graphics card and make sure you got the latest drivers installed. Speaking of which, what's the frame resolution you're trying to run this at?
Well, it's 1024
by 768?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I'd almost say there may be an issue with a driver problem on that, because I don't think Far Cry will beat on your system. It's a really difficult game.
But I know Kevin got it up to even a better resolution.
Yeah.
With no problem.
With high resolution.
Yeah.
I double check to make sure you've got the latest graphics drivers downloaded. We think we see Brentano in the corner. Any other things you would do?
What?
Or to speed up Far Cry?
To speed up Far Cry?
If you have anti-aliasing turned on, turn it off.
Ooh.
I mean, if that's check. There's an automatic settings in Far Cry for like low, high, very high settings, and it does it all automatically. So maybe it turned on anti-aliasing.
Yeah,
because you're not turning that off.
You're not going to notice much of a benefit. As fast as you're moving in Far Cry, you're not going to really notice much of a benefit from anti-aliasing anyway. Good call, Brentano. Ladies and gentlemen, good call, Ahmed. But yeah, definitely, you know what? Check the settings on that. Check the drivers on the graphics card first. Yeah, I bet that's what it is, anti-aliasing.
Speaking of games, fans of the Gran Turismo series are not happy campers. Why? The release of GT4 has been pushed back to a very vague-sounding autumn release. Bummer. But don't despair. Sony has released 4 brand new, absolutely breathtaking QuickTime videos. You've seen them now, of the game in action. For links to download these movies and view some newly released screenshots, go to thescreensavers.com/shownotes. Now, stay where you are, because next up, we're going to check out our inbox, see what's on your mind. We might read your email. Screensavers continue. You ready for some emails?
It's time.
Okay. John wants to know, I know people who have used all of mp3.com, and it does work, but how is this site possibly legal? Prices based on file size, 1 cent per megabyte.
Yeah, well, here's the deal, right? There's the website, allofmp3.com. And if you'll notice something, take a look at the little character. Focus on any of the text on that page.
Looking like Russian.
It's looking like Cyrillic, right? I don't know if it's a shame if we could break 8 over there, because basically, yeah, there's a whole bunch of Russian language. It's a Russian website. It's out of Russia. They have different copyright rules than we do. Now, technically, but they'll do, right? It's pretty cool. Most of the files they have on there are stored uncompressed. You can choose your favorite format. So you can download something, you put it in OGG Vorbis, you can put it in MP3, a bunch of different options on that, and you can choose the compression quality. So the better the quality of the compression, the lower the amount of compression, the more you're going to pay, because you're paying per megabyte.
Well, what about us living in the U.S. of A?
Well, I suppose, that's a great question. It's legal for Russian users. Is it legal for users in the United States?
We can access it just the same.
Not a clue. Yeah, I'll click over on the English version of the page. In theory, right, it's not legal to download and redistribute them and some other stuff. It's funny. Everybody just went to say hello to their website. We took down the webpage again.
And that's about all of mp3.com.
I mean, here's the thing, though. The thing is, though, is a couple different reporters have been writing about this, and it's starting to pick up some steam in the news. And so far, but it's not fake. They're not charging your credit card. They're not making phone calls to Siberia. But it seems to be a legitimate site. Whether or not it's legal in the U.S. of A., we're going to find out.
I have a strong
as
suspicion.
the RIAA gets upset.
I have a strong suspicion they're going to get upset very soon if they haven't already.
Yeah, but the thing is, there may be. It's a foreign country. There may be no way to regulate it.
It's true.
Up next?
Up next, Chuck says, is there any way to modify a laptop display? What I mean is, I want to make it work plugging it into a VGA display connector.
That's a classic question. People have dead notebooks. They've got like a 15-inch display on there, an XGA or something like that, and they want to build a nice desktop display. It's almost impossible because they use basically those are digital displays. They use very specific controllers for them, and it's almost impossible to find a controller that you can plug into your desktop. Do some researching online, but I'd be shocked if you could find something that'll work with that particular display. We got to go, folks. That's it for this edition
He's a smart
of the
guy.
Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Sarah Lane. Thanks for joining us. We'd like to thank our guest, Feng-hsiung Hsu. See you next time. Have a great night.